Hi. Just going to share a few words here. I did actually make a video about this a few days ago, but I don't know. I mean, I thought, is it really even worth it? But I've noticed that, you know, there's more people jumping on this anti-Jimmy Dore bandwagon rhetoric that's going around recently. I think there's 3 people described in this video that have decided suddenly they don't like Jimmy Dore. One of them's David Pacman, is it Sam Cedar, and some other guy on the alternative media, that you'll find them all over YouTube, different people. I mean, I have come across some really decent people who are true independents, just sharing their opinions, their ideas, their understanding, their perspectives, and I love it, you know. I think that's brilliant. I love YouTube for that is giving people a platform of freedom of speech and expression, and because we are prisoners, we are slaves in this world, and we are ignored, and we all have something to share with each other. And so I've got a lot of respect for a lot of people that make YouTube videos to share news and perspectives and information and guidance, you know. But there's also a lot of people that sort of try to present things in a more sort of professional way, and they do ask for funding, or they make money out of advertisements and things. I mean, alright, I know that's the kind of world we're living in, and if somebody needs money in order to dedicate their lives to doing that, then, you know, fair enough. I mean, personally, I don't ask for any money. I have no Patreon account, and my account is not in any way monetised, and I don't try to sell anybody anything. So, and yes, there are quite a few people like myself, but I am actually promoting certain ideals, a certain perspective, certain understanding, and promoting, for example, an understanding of universal golden light being intelligence as our soul and spirit, and I'm promoting I suppose veganism as well, though not overly so, but a more ethical, compassionate way of living. So, you know, those are the basic things that I'm promoting, but I'm also focusing on certain world events, things that are happening now, in order to share a perspective, in order to provide clarity for people, so that people can find guidance within that, so that they can stick as closely as possible to the truth of any particular event or things that are happening, so that we understand. Because when we understand the problem, that's when we can understand how to fix it, or at least how to protect ourselves or our families or our loved ones or our communities or even our nation from the impacts of that problem. You see, if we can't do anything directly to fix the problem, at least we can not have that problem, you know, terribly damaging our own lives and those of who we care about. So, you know, and having said that, so, you know, this is this guy Jordan Chariton, who I've only just discovered because I noticed his video in defence of Jimmy Dore, and I'm glad that he's made it, and I do like what he's saying here, you know. I think he seems like a genuine guy to me, and I like what he's saying and the way he's saying it. You know, he's admitting he doesn't really know much about Jimmy Dore, but he's just questioning, you know, what is this attack, because it's an attack on the progressives, you see. You know, people that want to move out of this two-party, the traditional two-party warring politicians thing that's been going on for how many decades now in countries like the USA and in Britain and all over the place, where, you know, you really haven't got a Democratic Party. You know, this Democratic Party, what is it? It's basically a cardboard cutout. It looks like an opposition. It talks like an opposition. But really behind the scenes, there's no opposition. You know, it's like what you've got is a wet blanket that, you know, the Republicans have been pushing it since the death of Kennedy to reclaim all the territory that they'd lost after World War II, in terms of, you know, workers' rights to a living wage, affordable healthcare, because then health insurance was affordable, you see. And there were lots of things that were affordable, like, you know, a family home. And they've been reclaiming all the gains in civil rights, you know, all of that. They see it as lost territory, because you're talking about the human consciousness seen as territory. You know, how much of our consciousness, how much of a nation's consciousness can be occupied by the controlling powers and controlled by those powers for the purposes of benefiting those powers, and even at the expense of the people being controlled. That's slavery. You know, these guys, they want to get back to the days of slavery. And so they've lost a lot of territory, and they want it back. And they've had to do it by stealth. So they've got to give an illusion of choice, an illusion of a democracy, an illusion of an alternative. And you get the alternative for a bit, who sort of, you know, gives you a few you know, manages to grab a few crumbs as concessions. And then in comes the so-called Republicans, overt narcissists, because the Democrats are covert narcissists. You know, your wolves in sheepskin, and then you've got your actual wolves, who are proud of being wolves. You know, they're honest about it. Okay, they're honest and upright. Yes, I stand up for the wolf consciousness, and so, you know, and then they'll get back in. And as soon as they get back in, hack, cut, filling the pockets, and any advancements made by the covert narcissists, the Democrats, will be pushed right back, and then even back some further, you know. And then back in will come the Democrats and gain their little couple of inches again, and then in will come the Republicans and reclaim those couple of inches, and another inch on top, you know, maybe a mile. And that's how it's been going on. It's been going on and on and on like that. And that's why it's been very serious, you know, this Kavanaugh thing, and getting such a person of such consciousness who's obviously in with the mob, okay? Because know that the Senate now is a mob, and the Supreme Court know that they're all in control of the mob, because they have turned round and called compassionate, law-abiding citizens with a care in their heart, human beings, they've described them as a mob, okay? They've described them as a mob. And therefore, you know, as ye judge, so shall ye be judged. Actually, it's them who are the mob. So we're talking about the mob now controlling the Supreme Court, and that is very, very serious. And, you know, watch out for absolutely total shredding of the Constitution. So, and this stuff that's been happening with Jimmy Dore is directly related to it. And so rather than try and explain it, you know, I'm going to just read out the comment that I've written below here, because I think it explains it perfectly, what I'd said in this other video. I do also think that Dore's inclusion of Jesse Ventura on his show as well, you know, doesn't go down very well. Because I do think Jesse Ventura is a credible candidate for, you know, the 2020 presidential vote. And he is standing with the Green Party. And, you know, maybe it is time to vote ethically, as opposed, you know, rather than politically. Because let's face it, these politics, the only people having a party are the politicians and the corporations. Everybody else, you know, it isn't a party, is it? You know, we are paying for their parties. And I think it really needs to stop. So, anyway, to get to my comment, I've put about, you know, I was going to make this video, and I've said I think it has a lot to do with Dore's inclusion of Abby Martin on his show. The misogynist establishment loathe her realist perspective on issues like Palestine, 9/11 and Venezuela. A professional, intelligent and attractive female equals danger. As I explained to Patman moments prior to unsubscribing from his channel, Abby Martin, recently unemployed due to forced shutdown of Telesur News, is a news veteran who has reported from the thick of reality, and by comparison he, David Patman, is a Boy Scout. Yeah, suddenly her patron, Jimmy Dore, is toxic and dumb. The shields don't come out until required, and they're in place to gang up on genuine alternative news providers the moment they are deemed a threat. Naturally, they're not going to directly attack Abby Martin. That would be too obvious, and likely not at all popular, though as it is, it appears the attempted coup against Jimmy Dore has somewhat backfired, with Patman now complaining about people ceasing their Patreon donations, and indeed actually citing withdrawing donors as toxic by their attacking him financially. Basically, Trump logic, lol. If you really could not make it up, because, you know, and it was like, that was it, the facade was just down suddenly. I suddenly saw David Patman for who he really is, you know. I mean, I hope he isn't. I mean, he's not David Patman, but I must say, it did shock me, because he came at me, at his audience, with Trump logic. That is Trump logic, to accuse people who have ceased their donations, their monthly donations to you through Patreon, because they're so upset and disgusted that you've come out and attacked Jimmy Dore. And then you accuse those people of behaving in a toxic way because they've attacked you financially. Like, how can that be attacking you financially when actually they've been donating to you and you have attacked them? You've attacked their sense of understanding about who you are as a trusted individual who would stand by Jimmy Dore, not turn around and call him toxic and dumb. So you've attacked them. You've attacked their sense of themselves, their sense of supporting somebody who is a caring, compassionate, rational individual. So they have decided to stop, you know, donating to David Patman. But, you know, David Patman is like, oh, you're attacking me financially for the sake of Jimmy Dore. And that really is Trump logic. You know, that is exactly that far-right logic. It's just so twisted and messed up. And, yeah, but I do think it is that Jimmy Dore has invited, you know, Abby Martin as a regular contributor on his show, and I must say I was very concerned for Abby Martin, because, you know, they shut down Telesur News, which was based, I think, in Venezuela, and she's given some brilliant reports on Venezuela, shared the truth of what is really going on there, and I'll leave you a couple of links under this to some of Abby Martin's news reports while she was with Telesur News, you know, and she is a professional news provider, and she is, you know, a news veteran. She's been to Palestine, she's been in the thick of the troubles in Venezuela. She actually gets out there, you know. She gets her hands dirty. She's put her life at risk, and, you know, so obviously, you know, David Pakman, none of them are going to directly attack Abby Martin, because actually that would just achieve the opposite of what they want to achieve. You know, it would be putting attention on her, and then people would be like, oh, why are they attacking Abby Martin? Because, again, she has got a lot of support as well. So it's like, oh, alright, yeah, they can't directly attack her, so instead they start going after Jimmy Dore, because it's not like Jimmy Dore has suddenly transformed into this ultra-progressive being. Jimmy Dore is Jimmy Dore, and I've always rated him, you know. I mean, I've been subscribed to his show, I don't know for how long. I think actually I might have only recently subscribed. I only discovered him, you know, in recent months, really. But I like what he's saying. He makes sense, and I like the guests, the people that he has on his show. You know, he recently, like I say, he's had Jesse Ventura on, a guy called Donald Best. I'll leave you the link to that under this as well, under that show. Donald Best, absolutely top guy, you know. Like, he's somebody that has been actually tackling the corruption in police and stuff, you know, arresting police officers, and he's had a really hard time. But, you know, these are important people, and that's what I like about Jimmy Dore, is that I like the people that he invites on to his show, and I am especially appreciative that he has included Abby Martin now. You know, he's given a hand of support to Abby Martin, and she really needs it, and she is somebody that does need a voice, you know. As I say, she is absolutely brilliant, very professional. She knows her stuff. She's coming from a really sane, clear, balanced perspective, a human perspective, not a political party, corporate funding perspective of, oh, where's my money coming from perspective. And, you know, so it has made me question Pakman and the others now. Like, yeah, are they shills? Because I understand that's what these shills do. The set up, you know, seemingly from nowhere. They appear, oh, they've already got a few hundred supporters, you know, as soon as they've set the channel up. They come across as, yeah, everyone knows me. Oh, look, I'm promoting this product, promoting that. All very ethical things. I'm very ethical. But they stay within a certain framework. They stay within a certain perimeter. There's certain places they won't go. But, you know, I can accept them, alright. They're sharing what they're sharing. I don't knock it. But when they start attacking people like Jimmy Dore, you know, that is when I know, oh, that's what, you know, that's, they've been told to, oh, come on. They're like soldiers on guard, aren't they? They're just there doing the thing. They might even help out in the community a bit, until suddenly it's like, oh, sorry, we need you guys over here. To this part of the community, something's happening there. We need you now. You know, so it's that kind of thing that's going on, because and that's why I've decided to make the video. Not because I want to attack David Pakman. I think all of them that have criticised Dore do have the opportunity to back down from that and to actually apologise, and I will resubscribe, you know. I mean, I'm quite forgiving, but I think what's important that people understand is that, look, there is a war. There is a war on for our mind. You know, Alex Jones' famous thing, there's a war on for your mind. It is actually true. It is actually true. There is a battle going on to keep and maintain and take control of our minds, of our thoughts, of our opinions. Because they're worth money. You see, it's all worth money and power. And, you know, these are the kind of things that are going on. What I've just described about shills, sock puppet accounts. You know, one person can be 100 people online. They can have 100 sock puppet accounts. You have, what, 30 people. One person setting up his YouTube channel or her YouTube channel can suddenly have 3,000 subscribers instantly. Just from those 30 people. Yeah, it takes a bit of work, takes a few hours, you know. Well, 8 hours a day. And who is paying them? And yes, they are earning money through advertising revenue. Because the more subscribers you have, the more money, the more they watch your videos, then the more money you have getting in through the advertising revenue. And then that attracts other people because they see, oh yeah, popular. Oh yeah, they've got lots of people subscribing to them. You see? You know, money is a big, big, big factor behind everything that goes on in this world. And it is difficult for some people, you know, especially myself, who's not money driven. It always does really shock me when I realise that, no, just exactly what people will do for money. Okay. But they do, you know, they traffic children for money. People are prepared to do that. They're prepared to sell traffic babies. These are the kind of things that the people of this world will do for money. So, you know, what I'm describing is well within the framework of what people will do for money. And they do set up these shill alternative news medias that, like I say, they'll just be there, and then all of a sudden, and some of them just seem completely independent, you know, and all of a sudden they'll start dropping a narrative in, like, you know, suddenly, after criticising the system and seeming to expose all kinds of things, and then suddenly they'll be supporting the official narrative on, say, 9/11, or like David Pacman suddenly start attacking Jimmy Dore. And it's, even though, you know, they might get a knockback, but the purpose of it is to build up the debate and then to invite, like, yeah, let's all attack Jimmy Dore. And eventually you'll get far-right people who normally would have avoided Pacman because he's constantly criticising Trump. But then they'll be like, yeah, they see an opportunity now to join Pacman in attacking Jimmy Dore, because Jimmy Dore is, you know, a very real threat to them, okay? And Abby Martin in particular, you see, and the likes of Jesse Ventura. So it is, you know, and they join forces. And so then, you know, I start to think, well, so is David Pacman really a covert Trump supporter? Because like I say, he came out with Trump logic, which he threw at his own, you know, people who'd supported him, who'd given him their hard-earned cash to support him. And then, because he's offended them with his attack, I mean, really unwarranted attack against Jimmy Dore, and very harsh, you know, saying that he's toxic and he's dumb. That's really harsh. That smacks to me of male ego somewhere, whether it's David Patman's male ego or somebody's male ego, the establishment ego, who are just so offended by the likes of Abby Martin. Because, you know, a woman of Abby Martin's credibility on the alternative news circuit is rare. You know, she's a rare example. I'm not saying there aren't women on the news circuit, but Abby Martin is in many ways unique, you know, because of her professionalism, and because, you know, I think she was with RT at first, and then because of her statements about 9/11. I mean, I might be wrong, but I think, as far as I can actually recall, it was because of her statements on 9/11. Suddenly she was turfed off RT, and she got with Telesur News, and she has reported very accurately on Venezuela. You know, while the mainstream media and even a lot of the alternative media, you know, promote this fairy tale stuff, just, well, basically fake news about what's going on in Venezuela, and in, you know, and in places like Palestine. And Abby Martin, she shares a very clear perspective, very balanced. It's real. And yeah, sorry if the Republicans, far-right extremists, don't like it, because it exposes them for what they are, you know, which is largely fantasists, opinionists, judgmentalists, you know. And yeah, I think that is the real reason, and also because of Jimmy Dore's own progressiveness as well, that together this is a united front. They don't like it. It's male and female together, you say, both supporting each other, both equally credible, equally professional, equally popular, you see. So you've got male and female, not as a couple in a relationship, okay? You're talking about two independent, an independent female, credible, intelligent, professional female, progressive, standing with independent, credible, professional, progressive male, you see. Both of them independent of each other, but cooperating, working together, and presenting news, influencing the general public with their sense and sanity, because that's man. Man is both male and female. Which, you know, maybe these far-right people need. Go and have a look at your Bible, and have a look at the start of Genesis, where it says, God says, let us make man in our own image, both male and female, to be like us. You see? Are you picking up now? And so I think that is the danger, and that is why suddenly these people have come out and cited Jimmy Dore as being toxic. You know. I mean, I just find it very, very odd that, like I say, Patman would suddenly come out with Trump logic when he's constantly picking up on that logic and laughing at it, and yet then he uses it himself. So I just don't get it. Okay, but I think all of this, everything that I've described, it is evidence. It's evidence that of where we really need to be, who we need to be with, who we need to be listening to and taking seriously, and who we need to start, you know, perhaps taking with a bit of pinch of salt, you know, like, look, you're talking about either the wishy-washies or the extremists. You know, they both keep each other going. The wishy-washies will always wishy-wash over the worst crimes of the extremists, turn mountains into molehills, and molehills into mountains when it comes to anything that appears to be attacking the extremists, that seems to be antagonising the extremists. The wishy-washies, that's what they're there for. I've got no time for them, really. I hope they get a backbone and get on to the side with the progressives, and, you know, because we do need to rescue these extremists, even from themselves, because they are on the verge of destroying our planet, and there's no two ways about it. So we do need to get real. And so anyway, that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much, Jordan Chariton, for sharing your thoughts on this, and I will subscribe, and what can I say? All we can do is, yeah, you know, take courage, find strength, have faith. The love is with us, the universal love is with us. The Father time will come. Thank you.